Hello, everyone, and welcome back to TekXpresso, the podcast where we bring you quick, insightful, and engaging conversations about technology. In this episode, I'm thrilled to introduce a truly inspiring guest, Abhishek Sinha. He's the co-founder of Echo, a revolutionary platform that's transforming how banking works for millions. With a vision to make financial services more accessible and inclusive, Mr. Sinha has been a driving force in bridging the gap between technology and everyday banking solutions. Stay tuned. This is an episode you do not want to miss. Hello, everyone. We're joined by a very special guest, Mr. Abhishek Sinha. Today, we'll dive into what makes Echo's approach so innovative, how technology plays a pivotal role in their success, and hearing Mr. Sinha's thoughts on thinking outside the box to inspire innovation. My first question was, what makes Echo's approach to banking so innovative?
Well, banking for most of us should be as easy as using any app on your mobile phone. And when we started Echo way back in 2007, a lot of people did not have access to banking because banks were far off from where they lived. Even in smaller cities and villages in India, sometimes banks were like 10, 20 miles away from where they lived or worked. And so our aim was to make it extremely accessible for them. And what we did is that we partnered with banks and we partnered with small retail mom and pop stores, like the one where you could buy your groceries or small pharmacy outlets. And bank customers, instead of now traveling miles to their branches, could walk into these stores which are absolutely close by where they lived and could avail of banking services like opening of a bank account or doing their cash deposits, withdrawal, and other transactions. And so that's the innovation which Echo brought in almost now close to 18 years ago.
That's such a fascinating approach. It feels like the idea of combining accessibility, like it feels like it's breaking down barriers and from traditional banking, which like a lot of people, which a lot of banks did not do back then. And what I find like even more interesting is how this innovation like changed a lot of people's life. It made it more accessible for them and made it a lot easier for them. My second question was, how has technology been a driving force behind Echo Solutions?
Well, when we started, it was still the era of feature phones. There were no smartphones in India way back in 2007, 8, or just the affluent people had access to smartphones. And so for us, then the use of technology was that even though smartphones were few, feature phones had started to become a very interesting tool in the hands of low and moderate income people because it helped them enhance their economic activity. They could reach out to their customers easily on a phone. And we also had the challenge of uh, of numeracy. People did not know how to uh, deal with all the functionalities of a phone. But in India, we had a very peculiar, though very interesting behavior around feature phones. Let's say that I have a support staff who reported to duty, like say my driver. All he had to do was give me a missed call, and that meant that he has arrived. Now, this was very interesting because it was not, it was just the call did not mature. I did not pick up the phone because if I picked up, then he would had to pay. And so it was a very interesting concept. And that interesting behavior led us to a very interesting insight that people may not know how to use SMS, may not know how to write a text message, but definitely know how to use the number pad and know how to use the green and the red button. So the very first user interface which Echo developed way back then was kind of took inspiration from this habit of missed calls. And you could do just, there is a protocol in telecom called USSD, Unstructured Supplementary Service Data. It was meant for telecom operators for their internal usage. And we wrote on that protocol or technology and created a behavior which emulated missed calls. So you could literally do a missed call kind of behavior to open a bank account, to check your balance, to debit your account, kind of thing. And that's how Echo leveraged the technology then. Of course, we now have smartphones, and we are seeing the advent of Gen AI. And what this is doing is that it is going to help us further penetrate deeper into the customer base, because even in the smartphone, you are expected to know how to handle the phone, how to handle the app. But hopefully, Gen AI will help us kill the usage of the keyboard, where people can just, in their voice, or actions, be able to communicate with an app. And that is going to become a reality. We have only started to work in that direction, but we see a lot of promise in vision, video, and voice, and vernacular. India is a very interesting place where we have multiple languages, and not everybody is conversant with, let's say, English, while most of the apps today are in English.
That's a really interesting driving force that you did in the early age, and I'm pretty sure it will work now because you were really successful with it. And what stands out to me is like how you took something simple like a mobile phone and turned it into like a powerful tool um for financial banking, especially for people who needed it. And people definitely did not know how to like use technology back then. It was new for them, and you used it as a driving force and helped them like know what they were supposed to know what their balance and what it's supposed to be. Yeah. Um, so my third question was, what is your advice for thinking outside of the box to inspire innovation?
Veer, thank you for asking me this question. Uh, I will take you back to 2006-7 when we were thinking about Echo. And it was very important for us to challenge the status quo. And so it is very important to always question why and what if, or how do we change this? It was very important because when we saw the behavior of customers, we started to ask the question that if somebody could get a SIM card at a retail store, if somebody could top up their phone at a retail store close to where they worked or where they lived, why did they have to travel miles to get to their bank branch, and why can't that same service be available at the same store? And it is very important, you know, when you look at when your friends start to look at the real world and start to question the status quo. And I'm sure that when you look at the world from your perspective, you're seeing that a lot of people are facing challenge in various parts of their life. 18 years ago, we saw challenge in a set of people who didn't have very convenient access to banking. Likewise, at least in a place like India, you have lots and lots of challenges. You have lots and lots of small businesses who want to grow, and they don't get access to finance. And so it is very important for a company like Echo to question, how can we get them easy access to finance? How can we get them easy access to accounting software, to loyalty software? Because these things so far has been made for large companies and are so far not affordable for really, really small enterprises, which may be just having one person or less than 5 people. But they all need, they all have aspirations to grow big. And they all need some of these tech solutions at very affordable cost. And so it is very important to always question the status quo wherever we are seeing a certain set of people who are facing inconvenience. And it is always important to ask the question that how can we solve it in a different way? Not every time a different way may lead to the right solution, but when you have tried it enough number of times, you do get to a very unique way of solving a certain problem.
That's such a valuable perspective. So it sounds like you're embracing the constraints as opportunities, and it's a mindset that can spark a lot of creativity because you're trying it many different ways and several different times. And at some point, you will be able to find a solution, which is creativity. And what I'm so fond of is how it's so easy to like feel stuck when resources are limited, but as you said, like when the limitations force you to think differently and you come up with solutions you never considered otherwise. So um that's a really
And
interesting.
and
Yes.
and isn't that true for a lot of companies whom we engage with every day, whether it is Google, Facebook, Spotify? They all challenge the status quo,
Yeah.
right? If music was available to us not in a very convenient way, it needed hardware storage, there was buffering, Spotify came and solved it.
Yeah.
When search was complicated, Google came and solved it.
Yeah.
When social media was inconvenient, connecting with friends and family was inconvenient, then uh, solutions like WhatsApp and Facebook solved it.
Yeah.
And so it's not that Echo was the first company to have challenged that status quo, but it is important to for us when we are looking at the world, it is important for us to be aware, uh, to be alert to the challenges which people face, and to question it.
Yeah.
And when we question it enough number of times, hopefully we will get to the right solution and a much deeper understanding of the problem statement itself.
Yes, absolutely. And it does sound like you did achieve it at the end. So good job with that and congrats as well.
Thank you
Uh,
so much.
And that was really good examples of different companies. Absolutely. There are many different companies that have achieved this by creativity and failure as well. So thank you. And that will be the end of our discussion. And thank you very much, Mr. Sinha, for joining us. And I hope to have you in future episodes as well.
Thank you so much, Veer, for giving me this opportunity. It was absolutely a pleasure having this conversation with you. Thanks a
Thank,
lot.
thank you.
It's been a total privilege and honor.
Thank you.